Alright guys, we're making the very first day of the bootcamp. This is going to be Bootcamp 2.0. The very first one was 1 year ago, but over the past 12 months, a lot of changes have happened, especially with AI, and we have finally made a real brand. So there's a lot of new sauce I would like to share with you guys, and the best way is just to break it down into this bootcamp. So I'm not sure yet how long this is going to be, but last one was 30 days. So we're going to see. The first thing I want to talk about is going to be the foundations, and these are going to be the building blocks for whatever we're going to speak about in the next whatever days, maybe 14 days of this bootcamp. So this is going to be comprehensive, so anyone can learn from this, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. At whatever phase you're in, this is for you, okay? So once again, what are the foundations or the building blocks for anyone to become successful, to get the desired outcomes that you're looking for? Now, with a recent brand, and by recent I mean we've been building this for the past 8 months. It's an ongoing process. A lot of work was done behind the scenes. Best day we did was 10K a day, and this is once again not a pump and dump store, so we're gonna keep on growing, and I'll constantly be sharing with you guys progress. I'm gonna say this from now. If you would like to be part of the team, to know everything behind the scenes, be part of this, let me know on Discord, and it's for free. So it's the primary goal of all of this. That's why I'm sharing this. You need to build a brand, and we're not going to be doing pump and dump. So that's the end goal of this bootcamp, okay guys? So the first building block, the first pillar is going to be the mindset. The second pillar is going to be the knowledge and experience that you need to know for you to actually progress in this. And the best part is this will be all provided within this bootcamp. Third building block is going to be the environment. Once again, very important. This is going to require a lot of sacrifice as well. So number one, mindset. This is a very generic word, but the one essence that I would like to start with is being stoic, in the sense that whatever number you're getting, whether it was in sessions, in sales, does not matter, it shouldn't affect your energy levels or your inputs of the day. For example, let's say you're making 1K a day, and that has caused you to become very motivated. Therefore, you're going to start posting 5 times a day. Next day, you make 0 sales. And that, because it crushes you, you go down to 1 post per day. This is very real, and anyone who's running or has seen any success with dropshipping would know that this is very real unless you do a change intentionally. And that's why you need to know this from the start, or whether you're still in the process of finding your first winner. You need to know this and watch yourself for the time where this happens. Make sure on your bad days you act as if it was your top day. Okay, ignore your Shopify dashboard. I remember the very first time I went, like during the first times of me going viral, I would always be like refreshing my Shopify store. It's a very bad way of spending your day. It's probably the lowest ROI thing to do, because you're teaching yourself to be, relying on impulses to decide whether that's a good day or a bad day. Instead, you should be behind the scenes working on the system, whether it's your store, your backend, your discounts, your emails, replying to people, your marketing. I mean, marketing is the best ROI thing you could do to get more sales, period. And yeah, there's always something to do. So never be teaching yourself, whether it was conscious or unconscious, to rely on impulses. Now, for someone who doesn't know what is even a good day, so what does it take? What does it take for you to have a good day that you can make 1K a day or 10K a day or whatever? You need to firstly go viral, but for the right reason. So I'm not going to say there's a magical number that you need to be posting for every single day, like 3 times per day. A lot of people used to say, you need to be posting 3 times to 5 times with 3-hour intervals between them. There's no magical number, but obviously the more, the better. So here's the rule of thumb, okay? You need to make sure it's original content. I'm not going to tell you that you need to repost or rely on just luck. That's the wrong mind frame. There's one point though where you have a lot of content and a lot of proven concept where things in the past have gone viral. You may be able to use old content plus new content. That's fine. But relying on just reposting, or even worse, stitching other people's content and purely relying on that to go viral is unfortunately not a good way long term, okay? So always have control over your income, and that's by creating your own content. Now, that doesn't mean you need to go film out there. Fortunately, that's not the only path today. Instead, you could go create on your laptop using AI. That way you never have to touch a product again. But don't worry, there's going to be a day dedicated for AI. So my point here is a good day that you should create a standard around is honestly just compassed around your inputs. So there's no magical number. I would say quality is always over quantity. You could be posting once or twice a day, although once is not good right off the bat. Maybe after you grow your pages. I've seen a lot of brands and big stores, they post once a day, but they really intentionally put in a lot of work on their posts. I would say 2 to 3 is totally fine. But again, try to always make new content and change the formats, test a few things every now and then. Because if you are hitting a plateau where you're getting the same amount of views and nothing's going viral for days, weeks, or months, then definitely it's the content. You cannot just call it luck. So, in short, the first thing is to be stoic and reaching this equilibrium of doing the same things regardless of the stimulus that you get on a daily basis. We're all gonna get, whether it was in our control or out of our control, we're gonna get stimulus, which is gonna cause us, or attempt to cause us to be out of this equilibrium. So we need to, consciously be aware of this and, terminate all of these stimuli that are causing us to get distracted. Okay, guys? Whether that was news, whether that was the new, FIFA or whatever, never be following others who you don't want to be in their shoes. Okay, guys? You need to be in your own bubble, working on your goal, and the best way is to just lock in. And I'm gonna actually give you a way to lock in. Don't worry. So one is being consciously defending your equilibrium, your peace. Number 2 is gonna have to do with the motivation, your why. What is your why? What's your daily driver to why you're actually waking up and putting in extra work than your competitors? There's thousands, if not tens of thousands of people who are creating organic content every single day to sell a product. So it's a PvP game. Just a harsh reality about it. So you need to be the best at one thing. You don't need to be the best at 5, 10 different products. Be the best at 1 or 2 products at once, and that's how you get off the ground. Now, the good news is you don't need to film. So if you're really good at AI content, then definitely you have a higher chance than a beginner to make something out of it. So learn how to be the best at creating AI content, and that way you don't even need to worry about the product. Although this is an unfortunate thing, recently AI has made it so easy to the point where the marketing is actually leading the sales. It's not even the product. And that's where ethics takes place. So I'm gonna have to mention this from now, because ethics is definitely gonna play a big factor into this. We're doing ethical branded dropshipping. If you want to do the black hat, it's very easy, okay? But again, the good hope is you could actually build something sustainable, long-term, ever-growing, the ethical way. Because currently, the pump and dump is the black hat dropshipping. That's the unfortunate reality, and it's in disguise. So, although you may not know about it, but it's actually the unethical way. So ignore all of that hype around it. A lot of people are showing their dashboards but at the end of the day, they're dumping their accounts. That's why they're showing their dashboards. So if you're aiming to build something that's ever growing, you want to make sure you build it ethically from the start. Okay? But just to go back to the AI point, the good news is AI can carry the product, which is something we couldn't have done before. So we've seen this with like the slippers. They're really like, why would someone buy it, right? But the marketing is what made it something, something that has such an emotion that has driven people to buy. So it's just about your storytelling, but preferably the ethical way, or just the passionate niche behind it. And that's why once you go out there on your burn account to find a product, you're going to realize 7 out of 10 products are, inspired by something. They have a passionate niche. Hence why people are buying, because they would feel some sort of emotion towards it, nostalgia and so on, which makes them buy. So I've gone a bit off track here, but I'm just showing you that ethics is important. So that's number 3. But let's go back to the why, because this is important. You need to have your internal, personal reasons to why you're getting off the bed every single day or staying up at night to outcompete others. I did mention this briefly, but I'll give you a practical way to do this. You need to write down a few things which are your direct reasons why you're doing this. So it could be for geographical or time freedom. Could be for anything, something you want to buy, your dream car or something. So write it down. And this is something you need to remember every single time you're feeling lazy or feeling down, so that you remember your goal. But again, try to make it not something materialistic. Try to make sure it's something that actually means something to you. Oftentimes, these are what actually makes someone outstanding versus others. And another one is to create a list. I'm not sure which video it was, but there's a bunch of people who spoke about this strategy, and they're from the 1900s, that you would write this 20-point list. And the crazy part is I always keep on hearing the same strategy, whether it was from scientists or whatever, or motivators. They all point out at the same study, which is creating a vision of who you should be. So what's your top 1% version of you? Write down the 20 things that this person does on a daily basis. So the inputs, how do they live, right? And what's gonna happen is you're gonna start taking better decisions on your daily life to eventually reach that person. And oftentimes when you make this list, you're gonna realize that person is completely different from you. So for example, they have multiple brands, because you need to think, how can they afford that type of lifestyle? It's not gonna be done through pump and dump. So you're gonna start realizing how bigger ambition you should be having when you start making this list. So what's gonna also happen is you're gonna have to start sacrificing things which you currently have in your life to be able to attract that lifestyle. So these things which you're removing are usually the bad habits or people that are stopping you from progressing. And this is really important. So all the bad habits or people, these are the primary things you need to remove out of your life from now, so that you can have place to pour the new good habits. And remind yourself of this list. People say, some people recommend that you read this before you sleep and when you wake up. And by the way, this 20 list can be a few different variants, by the way. I just told you need to put in the 20 inputs that the best version of you would be doing on a daily basis. And I personally like that more. But other people would say, what do they actually own? I wouldn't really focus on the materialistic things, but rather the daily life. It's way more important. Next point is the knowledge. So obviously, if you have the right knowledge, you're going to be able to navigate through this road better, and this is going to save you years. And that's the goal of this. So I'll give you some sauce once I finish the third point, which is the environment, which is divided into two. So there's the physical and the digital realm, which you need to constructively work on. So here's the physical environment and the digital. Let's focus on the digital first because this is a big one. Whether you know it or not, your scrolling time is actually your digital environment. So whatever you surround yourself with, whether it was information, people, impulses, is all considered in a digital environment. And you need to, again, work on this to consciously eliminate all of these impulses, especially the bad news, which has nothing to do with your life, because it's made to raise your cortisol, lower your frequency, and just overall make you a low energy person. So by you staying away from all of the external world, just focusing on your bubble and your goals, this is gonna give you a lot of peace, trust me, and more progress, by the way. So, and even we can extend on this topic, stop comparing yourself to others. Whenever you watch more, especially shorts, on average, I would say 8 out of 10 shorts, especially about e-com, are people flexing. So there's no point for you to watch people LARPing. Instead, focus on, once again, educational content like this, which is long form. And you can do this in your free time. The other time you should be working on actually doing stuff. You need to act. So this is one thing which I would recommend, is to replace whether it was time or energy consuming activities you would do digitally, so whether that's scrolling or something, with high ROI things like this to watch, okay? And that's regarding the things you consume. Let's talk about the people that you surround yourself with. Now, the reality is, it's harder to find like-minded people, in terms of e-com at least, physically. For that reason, you need to surround yourself with people who does the same thing. And this is going to help you a lot. Now, I'm not going to lie, this is very hard. I don't think I met a single person who I could trust in the ecom space until I started my YouTube channel and found my first winner. So that's actually one of the main reasons I started this, is to connect with a trustworthy community. And the team we have made are the most people I trust. So truly, it's a very hard thing to do, which is to find people who you could trust and people who you could share the same passion with. Okay, this is gonna become a passion. You're gonna do this on a daily basis. It's gonna become your life. So you need to find people who have the same vision, the same goal, mission, and it's not easy. So a tip is to find some communities out there. Again, we have the Discord in our bio. It's for free. You could find like-minded people there, hopefully. And yeah, just find other communities. Try to connect with people. What's going to happen is, once you surround yourself with people who does e-com, your entire reality would become surrounded by people who does what you do. So it's not going to be out of the norm what you're doing. And that's going to motivate you to work harder. Because especially in the filming days, it was really hard to go out there and film when everyone around you is not filming. So it does require a lot of delusion to know that this is going to work at the time where you're filming. Now, don't worry, today there's a lot of products which are actually better off filming than doing with AI. So if you still want to film, don't worry. I think there's an actual benefit to it. You build more trust. I think right now there's an unfair advantage for people who take the extra mile to order the product and film it, but they need to actually be good at it. So as a beginner, I think it's better to start with AI, eventually do it like a 50-50 AI plus filming. So yeah, find the right people online so that you can connect with them, talk about the same thing, have this competitive energy. So you're not really trying to take something from them, because trust me, a lot of people, they try to do that. They're trying to take something from you, your product or something, or sell you something. You need to find genuine people who are here to, it's like a friendship. You're trying to competitively motivate each other. So that's one. Two, if you have any gaming history, then try to remove all these connections. You don't need to waste your time anymore. Once again, you need to sacrifice a lot of things to grow, and that includes people. So just stop wasting your time or hanging out with people who waste your time. Next point is going to be, I mean, I guess I mentioned most of the things. So the people and the consumption. You need to be very aware of what you consume digitally. Next is going to be the physical environment. So a few tips. If you, once again, are a type of person who used to game a lot, let's say this is my setup which I game on, then it's better off for me to work in a different room or a different desk than working here, because your mind is going to be wired that, okay, if I'm here, I'm wasting my time. I'm usually playing. So just a friendly tip to, test different environments. Some people like to work outside, so in their garden, or even at a coffee shop, which I don't recommend. I think it's, if you're really locked in, trust me, I think it's better off working in a, at your place or somewhere private, not like in a public space, because you need to actually lock in. You need to focus. But yeah, everyone's different, obviously. Another tip would be music. So if you have hard time focusing, once again, your why is going to help you. So that should be your foundation. But also, just having a better, clean environment, which is, again, not associated with any time being wasted. So no gaming, nothing. Just you, your desk, and your laptop, and that's it. That way, you're more likely to actually get things done. Get your phones out of your room as well. Yeah, these are like some tips which I would highly recommend. But I would say the biggest game changer for me was music. Believe it or not. I think I've tested a lot of different music types. Everyone's different. So try to find something with no lyrics. If you are, surrounded by a lot of distractions, music is one of the best ways to actually isolate yourself from the outer world. So put on some music, something that resonates with you, and literally just try to not even think about opening your phone. But one thing you need to do, even as a prerequisite to all of this, is to not be wasting your time consuming dopamine before you get into your deep work session. So this is actually something studied. That's why a lot of people, there's actually a strategy they do. They would stare at a wall for like 10 to 15 minutes before they get into their deep work session, for the reason of depleting their dopamine before they work. The harsh reality is, guys, when you're constantly consuming, the consumptions, what it does is it strikes your dopamine to the point where whenever you get off your phone, whether you notice it or not, you're actually crashing your dopamine. So you wanna hop on to something else that will rise your dopamine, whether it was eating, whether it is, I don't know, something that will waste more time. You're just gonna have this impulse to starve for more dopamine. So the only way to battle this is to actually be someone who has the discipline to just not care about it. But I'm actually speaking this, like right now, I don't think I have much problems with this, but reflecting back, guys, this was actually really hard. To actually focus is one of the hardest things. So one thing you can do is don't consume anything for 10 to 15 minutes. Do some push-ups, maybe hit the gym, workout, and then come back and work. So, or even get some sunlight. That's some really high ROI things to do. It just increases your frequency. So if you're someone who struggles with lack of focus, this will help. So lower your dopamine by going to getting some sunlight, workout, staring at the wall, literally, just non-digital activity. Something which has nothing to do with the screen, and then get to your work session. Okay, guys? So these are my tips for the environment. This was a longer one, but this is really important. Nobody actually talks about this. So now it's time to get back to the knowledge, so I can actually give you some practical information to get off the ground. So I'm gonna assume you have no knowledge about dropshipping. So I'm gonna try to be quick with introducing what dropshipping is to get back to the intermediate guys who are still trying to find their first winner. So you're just a middleman trying to make sure that you link or get enough traffic. So you're linking the consumer to the supplier. All right, that's all you do. Actually, the bag is with the supplier. All you do is marketing and the website. That's primarily what you do at the start. Later, there's more tasks, but at the start, expect 99% of your effort to be on marketing. And if you're currently doing anything else than marketing and you're wondering where your results are, then this is your answer. You need to focus on marketing. Marketing is everything. And marketing, I'm gonna include it with branding. They're very interlinked. Okay, guys? So this is what your primary focus is. And that's pretty much the business model. You're just getting traffic. You're selling them a product on your store. You're fulfilling it with your supplier. Who's gonna ship it directly to the customer. So now that we got that out of the way, how to find a winning product? This is probably what all of you guys are wondering. So a few things. I would say today the criteria is completely different than last year, but I'm gonna try to make it. I'm gonna make definitely a day for this because this bootcamp is gonna go for weeks. But just to give you, let's give you a few tasks for today. Okay, a winning product is not gonna be a pump and dump, which is done through black hat marketing. Black hat means whether it's a failing business and they're trying to sell a product and so on. We're not doing that. So try to make a list on your burn account. So create an account which is dedicated for finding content from other dropshippers, and then make a list of products that could be potentially winners. In the next days, I'm gonna make a criteria video, but what you're looking for is something that has a passionate niche. So it's for a very passionate audience. Number two, it has flexibility. This is a very recommended factor. So you could change the angles, whether it was initially marketed for car audience, you could market it for, I don't know, something else like the camera, the POV cam. We've seen this a lot in the past. It started as a car niche product. And then people found out that they could sell this for pretty much any audience. They started selling it for horse riders, for skiers, like people who like skiing and so on. So try to find a similar product in the sense that you can control the audience through the marketing. So these are two. And then the third one is something that it looks like it's worth the money. So it has some sort of value. Okay? It's not like some plastic which is, is going to cost $40. No. You need to make sure it's not a gimmick product. It's something that's actually worth the money. So that's like a brief breakdown of what you need to look for in a product, but I'll make a separate day for it. So for today, make sure you have a burn account, look for products, and we're going to make a day dedicated for finding products. I'll probably give you guys examples too, but these are the most important pillars to seeing success. Okay, whether you're a beginner all the way to advanced, you're going to need what I just said. And these are things which you're going to constantly be working towards. It's not like a one-time thing. Especially the first example I started with. This roller coaster of feeling good and feeling bad based on your dashboard. This is a serious problem. And I think that the best way to go through this is to be conscious about it, okay, before it happens. And when it happens, be conscious about it so that you could work on ignoring it, okay? You need to be, constantly working at the same level, regardless of whether you're making crazy numbers or not. So yeah, that's day one, boys. And yeah, let me know what you guys want to see within this bootcamp. This is going to be very special, and I aim to make this as comprehensive. So yeah, if this was helpful, like, subscribe, join my Discord. And once again, if you want to be part of the affiliate program, let me know by DMs on Discord. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll see you guys on Bootcamp Day 2.